Okay, joining me in the studio tonight I have local author, poet and playwright Karen Ankers. Hello Karen.
Hello Steve.
Nice for you to come in. Thank you very much for coming in and joining us, and we're going to talk in a little while about your first novel, which is due out next week, which is great, fabulous. But first I want to talk to you, quiz you a little bit about the writing process. Have you always written? When did you first start? Was it? I suppose the question might be, when was the first time you wrote something for yourself that wasn't a piece of homework at school or college or something like that?
I started writing poetry when I was a teenager. When you're going through all the sort of teenage angst, poetry is a very useful way of getting it out of your system. And then when I was 17, I went along to a meeting of the Chester Poets,
right?
Which was probably the best thing I ever did, because they were so supportive, and it was nice to know that somebody took my adolescent scribbling seriously, because nobody else seemed to. And they published me in several of their anthologies, and it was that early support that made me carry on writing. I probably wouldn't be writing today if it wasn't for that.
So it was just early encouragement from a group of writers. Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody thinks of poetry as sort of, I had this discussion with Trev Stockwell a few weeks back, and poetry and writing as being a bit arty-farty, and I know it's not, you probably know it's not, but how do we break that barrier down?
It's difficult, isn't it? I think poetry is seen as elitist even now, but you have brilliant poets like Kate Tempest.
Oh yeah.
Who is anything but, she's an amazing writer, and you have Patrick Jones, the Welsh poet.
Yeah,
I think we just need to keep making people listen to poets.
In a way, I think the modern music scene with grime and rap as well, because that's a form of poetry in its own right, So I think that might be the way it does get broken around. But again, it's at the complete opposite end of the spectrum, isn't it? So you've gone from Oxbridge and academics writing poetry to sort of like, gangsters writing poetry almost, and rap songs. So they're a little bit difficult, but we've got to find the middle ground so that everybody can enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Which do you prefer writing? Poetry for the stage, because you're a stage writer as well, or when you've written your first book, which has been brings in the most pleasure?
It all depends on the material, because I see myself as a storyteller, and stories find their own shape.
Okay.
And sometimes that shape is a poem, sometimes it's a play, sometimes it's a novel, sometimes it's a short story, and sometimes if I'm struggling to write something, it's because I'm trying to fit it into the wrong shape.
Okay, I think the word struggling there hits a question in my mind. Writer's block. Yeah, the dreaded writer's block. Does that happen?
I can't let it happen.
Oh,
no.
Right, okay. How do you avoid it?
There was a writer who said something like, "I only write when I'm inspired, and I make sure that I'm inspired at 9 o'clock every morning." And it's something that you have to have the discipline to do. You sit down and you write rubbish until something good comes out. Okay,
so you can't, the blank page is not allowed then?
Oh, no, absolutely not. No,
okay.
No.
So
even if you write the cat's head on the mat 67 times,
eventually
something will come.
The penny will drop and it'll trigger something
so
new.
So just doing the free writing, which is just seeing what happens, seeing what comes, then I'll just sit in a quiet room with a notebook and a pen and just see what happens. If I'm doing serious editing, serious writing, then I'm usually doing it on the computer.
Okay.
A quiet room would be nice. I don't always get one.
Well, yeah, it's a rarity these days, isn't it, for peace and quiet. Touched on, you've got a book due out next week, but you've also got a play out, haven't you? I believe that's being staged somewhere in America very soon.
I have 8 short plays which are published by Lazy Bee Scripts, and one of them, Crisscross, which is the first play I ever wrote.
Oh wow!
Is on in Texas at Midwestern State University in April, and then it's on again in May in California, in Los Angeles, which I think is probably the closest to Hollywood I'll ever get.
Hollywood, Holyhead, not far away. Not so far away. So this play, do they actually have to contact you and ask you permission to put it on?
They contact Lazy Bee, who are the publishers, and then they get sent the script and they get the performance rights from them. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Right, I'll tell you what, we'll play a track. The track you've asked to play is?
It's Hazel O'Connor, Will You?
Yeah, and why?
Because it's in a scene in my novel.
Ah, right, so there's a link. See, we don't just throw this show together. Well, I do, but there you go. Anyway, so here, this is from a film as well, isn't it? This is from Breaking Glass.
That's right.
So it's a soundtrack treasure as well, so I'll steal that one as well out of the interview. This is Will You, Hazel O'Connor. Maybe a bit about the character. Is there something of you in one of the characters in the story? Because that happens to a lot of people. Authors quite often get quizzed here. That's my Auntie Jo. Yeah, that's a friend I was at school with. Is that sort of relationship? Do you steal little bits of people's character to put into your stories? Something along that, so I'll ask that. A little bit about the publication process. How did you find a publisher? It must be really difficult. I think I'll ask about, as well, a bit of advice. What would you give to a first-time writer? How would you tell somebody wanted to write a book, a poem, or a play, or a short story? What bit of advice would you give to them to get going? Okay, and that'll just about cover it. So tell me about a chat about the book. Where's the book? Where's it based anyway? Is it on the island?
It's actually based in Chester.
Oh, based in Chester. Okay, right.
The next one is based in Mulva.
Mulva. Okay. You've got it already. Well, that's the next question. Then what's next? All right. Okay. Next week, and we're just about to talk about your first book, which is called. What's the title, Karen? You tell us.
It's called The Crossing Place.
Okay. All right. And can you give what's the brief synopsis without giving it all away? Obviously, we've only got a few moments really, but what's the synopsis? That's the right word.
Okay, well, it is a love story, but it's not your average romantic novel. It's a love story with dark edges.
Not a rom-com then?
No, definitely not. No.
All right, okay. We're not going to see Hugh What's-His-Face doing this on the screen then, are we?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. Can you tell us anything a bit where it's based? Who?
It's based in Chester,
right, okay.
And the main character is a lady called Laura, who is living a pretty mundane existence, bored with her job, a little bit frustrated with everything in a marriage that isn't going too well. She would kind of like things to change, but she doesn't really expect them to change quite as dramatically and as suddenly as they do.
Oh, right, okay.
She has an accidental meeting with a homeless man, a barefoot homeless man. And after that, everything starts to get very, very strange.
Right, okay. That's got me intrigued for a start. A lot of authors always say that they put something of themselves or their family or their friends into some of the characters. Is that something that a tactic that you've used in crafting this story?
I think so. I think there's a lot of me in Laura, a lot of the frustration, the kind of, life needs to be a little bit different. I think we all feel like that sometimes.
Definitely.
There are bits of people that I've met in the novel, but I tend to sort of take bits of one person and bits of another person and put them all together and create something else. So I don't know that anybody would recognise this.
That's the next thing. You've got somebody. Karen, is that me? Yeah. Okay. Okay. About the publication process. This is your debut novel, your first novel. How did you get it published? How do you do that? Have you sent it out to loads of publishing houses?
Well, I think publishing has changed a lot in the past few years. It's a lot easier now. You have more options now in publishing than you used to have. So I started the traditional route. I sent it out to lots of agents, and I sent the first 3 chapters out to a long list of agents, and some of them requested to read the full manuscript, which is really nice and really encouraging.
Right, okay, yeah.
And I had a few really, really nice comments about it, but none of them felt it was quite right to put on their list. And I think agents are a little bit careful about, the kind of stuff that they have to have stuff they know is going to sell. So they are a little bit careful about what they accept. I considered self-publishing it because that's another route that people can take these days. But then I thought, well, I'll try the middle route of those. I'll have a look at the smaller independent publishers. And I came across a man called Brian Tedesco, who runs a publishing company called Stepping Stones. And I inundated the poor man with questions and queries, and he eventually seemed to be the right person to publish it.
Good. I've got an idea for a book in my head, for argument's sake, or a poem or a stage play. What advice would you give to somebody who's never written anything other than a letter to their mum? How would you tell them to start putting stuff down on paper that might one day get to the point where it could be published and read by everybody?
I think I would say just write it. I mean, when I first moved to Anglesey, I remember that I hadn't been writing for quite some time, and a friend of mine, Fiona Owen, said to me, just write. And it really was that simple. Just put words on paper and see what comes out. And ignore all the people who will tell you you're wasting your time and you should be doing something more productive. And just don't give up. Somebody once said that a professional writer is an amateur writer who didn't give up, and that is absolutely true. Okay. And trust that the story that you're telling is unique, because we all have a unique set of experiences and emotions, and somebody somewhere will want to connect with what you're saying.
Yeah,
Let's
because
do it.
that's the old saying, isn't it? They say there's a book in everybody.
Absolutely.
And it's just how you get to the point where you can commit to putting it on paper and then taking it that step further to get it published, which thankfully that's what you've done. It must be really proud to have got this far and done it, and it's coming out next week.
It's next, yes, it's the 17th, so that's Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday. All right. How do we get hold of it?
Well, the best way would be to go direct to my publishers, which would be steppingstonespub.com, or you can buy it on Amazon. Bookshops will be able to stock it through their Ingram catalogue, so the best thing would be to go and ask a bookshop to order it.
Okay.
And the more people that go and ask for it, then they will stock it.
Okay. So can you give us the website again for Stepping Stones?
Steppingstonespub.com.
Steppingstonespub.com.
Yeah.
So right, that's where you can probably find out about the book, and the links will be there as well from their website. Okay. Right. What's next? What's next? There must be something else. A play being put on in America.
A play would be nice. I need to get some more plays done this year, but I think the next novel is my next step. And I have an idea for a novel set in Moylborough.
Moylborough, okay.
About a lady who wants to take a new direction and reinvent herself, but finds that her past is catching up with her, and things from her past that she didn't want people to find out about and then catch up with her.
This sounds dark again.
Just a bit.
This is going to be on the telly soon, I'm sure it is. You're going to remind us the title of the book again, please, Karen.
The Crossing Place.
The Crossing Place, right. Get on it, people. I'm sure it's going to be a great read. I'm looking forward to reading it myself now. So, yeah, we'll just wait to see. I hoped you might have a copy in your bag for me to have.
No,
That's just me. Okay, so thank you very much, Karen, for coming in tonight and speaking to us here at Mon FM. Good luck with the book and for everything else you do in the future, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you very much, and we'll play, well, there's only one track we can play for you, really. It's this one. Fabulous.
Oh,
Good.
thank you.
Happy?